Most of us will never spend more on something than we do on our homes. Cars likely come in second place.
They are not cheap to buy. Maintenance alone can be costly. So who's game for some free advice?
I'll take that. For that, let's turn to Amanda Fink from Certified Transmission. Good to see you, Amanda.
Hi,
Good
welcome
to
back.
see you guys again.
Good to see you. Let's get to this first question right away because Andy writes, as I'm driving down the road with my driver's door shut and locked, I'll lean on the driver's door and my interior light will come on and the door ajar sound starts. It's as if I'm opening the door, but the door is completely closed and locked. It's a 2009 Ford Ranger. Any ideas?
Yeah, that is a little bit different. I mean, obviously there's a sensor that's in your door for that alarm to go off telling you that it's open. So there's probably either something wrong with that sensor, but first thing I would do is probably check like the hinges and the actual latch itself, because obviously something's moving just enough to set that off. If it was with like the actual door ajar sensor itself, then you would think that it would happen just randomly without like leaning on it. So that tells me there's got to be something with the latches or the hinges that are causing it.
He said it's latching fine.
I don't know why you're
locked
leaning
fine.
on your door.
Yeah, well,
But you just never know, you know.
Listen
and
to
it's
some
like
music on a nice
know,
day.
you
yeah,
know.
that's
lean
more of your
on.
arms just on
Yeah.
the door
I
and
lean
like
on
in
my
the
door.
summer, you know, so that makes sense. And if it's that sensitive that it's something like that, then yeah, there's probably something with the latch or hinges. Hopefully it's just something that needs to be tightened up a little bit, and not something electrical. Those can be kind of a pain. But if nothing looks obvious to him, then you're probably going to have to get it to a shop to get it looked at. It's probably just an annoying thing more than anything else.
I'm sure,
but, you also want to make sure those things are working right, so your door doesn't.
No kidding. You're driving down 680.
well, they're there for
and
a reason, yeah.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
flies open. Josh is up next, and he writes, I have a 1996 Nissan Pathfinder. When I shift, if I am not smooth on the clutch or if I shift too fast, my truck feels like it goes thunk. It feels like it's in the rear end. Any idea what the issue could be?
There is a lot of different things that could be, and we look at stuff like that a lot. Probably something with drive shaft or U-joints. It could be the rear end itself. It could be suspension. So there's a lot of different things it could be.
But to not be like what the point about the clutch in this case, I wonder how that factors into what you would say.
Yeah,
Josh.
it's probably, since it's when he's actually shifting and it feels like it's coming from the back. I mean, your transmission and the clutch and manual transmission are like under where you're sitting. So if it feels like it's coming from further back, then he's probably right. And that could be a whole, I mean, U-joints are pretty cheap, maybe a couple $100, and then a whole rear end could be a couple grand. So I mean, definitely something that you want to get to a shop to look at. Our shop could probably diagnose something like that for him. If it's suspension, we don't do that type of work, but we do work on drive shafts and U-joints and rear ends and stuff like that. So we could get it looked at for him, $50, and then we can figure out what's going wrong. And that way you have a clear idea for what it is. Probably something you want to get looked at soon though, because U-joints and drive shaft issues, rear end issues, are pretty important, and they can all of a sudden just go bad and cause other major problems.
And then cost you more ultimately than getting it checked out now.
Yeah, because a U-joint, if a U-joint actually breaks and goes bad, then it can actually ruin like your rear end or your transmission,
Right.
rather than just
a
the
new
U-joint.
car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you guys deal with a lot of gremlins trying to track these things down. And this next one question.
Not the car, you
this
mean
question,
like the character?
Right, but this last question is
You
from
might get
Ellen. Reminds
gremlins
me of
in
that.
at your shops, I don't know.
And she says, when I was driving last week and the radio cut out in my 2014 Dodge Journey, the display screen was still on. It came back on for a second and then went out again. The next time I started my car, everything was fine. I don't have much time left on my warranty, so I'm wondering if this is a sign that a problem is lurking. See, gremlins. Gremlins get in there and they do these weird things.
And these are the trickiest things when it only happens like once or twice and it's not something consistent and you don't know what caused it. And they're difficult to try and track down sometimes. Being that she still does have warranty left, definitely get it to a dealer, have them take a look at it, and at least then there's documentation that there's an issue. You don't want there to be an issue like 2 months outside of warranty, and they're like, well, you never told us about it, so we're not gonna do anything. At least then there's documentation, and even if they couldn't find anything, they'll at least know that she's saying that it happened while it was still in warranty.
Right.
And then the other thing is there might be something on, since this car is only like 3 or 4 years old, there could be something with like a recall with the radio. There's lots of recalls usually in the first few years on vehicles just to fix like minor issues and stuff like that. So maybe it's something pretty easily that could be fixed. But yeah, I know it's kind of a pain to get it in, but then at least you have documentation with it. So yeah, it's a good idea.
We talk about certified transmission and 5 locations in our area, and you've got these. I mean, it's now a big company across the Midwest. But But it didn't start out that way. And I
No.
love the story
Me too.
about your dad and where he began back in the 70s. Would you share that with us?
Yep. I mean, I'm a little biased. I love our story. It's like the real like American dream,
It
right?
is. It is.
A lot of people think that we're a franchise. We're not. My dad still owns the company, and we have 15 locations total up here in Nebraska and Kansas. But then we actually started back in '79 on 84th and Blondo. It was a two-bay gas station. My dad was 19 years old, and I mean, my mom says they started dating when my dad was 19 and my mom was 16, and you know, I'm not going to promote that nowadays, but this was a long time ago.
But he had a toolbox
yeah.
and this like gas station that he just started working on
And
cars.
he was just, my dad was first generation. My grandparents came here from over in Europe. And so, I mean, they were hard workers. And my mom says he used to work 80 hours a week all the time. But he really saw the need to, as he started opening more locations, he saw the need to get consistency. So that's why he started the rebuilding plant. That way that all the transmissions were consistently being built to the same standards so that we could know exactly what our warranties were going to be and things like that. And then now we have over 4,000 transmissions in stock. We've remanufactured 40,000 a
and
year.
hundreds of employees.
Yep, almost 500 now.
He was not only a hard worker, he was smart about it. He saw a need for someone to specialize in transmissions only.
Well, and we still do specialize. I mean, most transmission shops now do general repair too and stuff.
Yeah.
We like to just stick to what
You
we're
do,
good
yeah.
at,
Yeah.
you know, and I mean, it's worked well for us, obviously.
Something else that's worked well is the philosophy, the job done right at the right price. And it is really hard to argue with that, as you know, for any of us, when you're taking your hard-earned dollar in some place and you don't really know what's going on, you want to be able to trust in the people who are providing that service. And I feel like that speaks as much as anything to the success of certified transmission.
Well,
Yep.
and especially when you're talking about transmissions, because transmission problems can get costly. You want to know
Yeah.
you're being treated fairly.
It's true.
You're right, they are very
CertifiedTransmission.com.
expensive.
You can read up on the story there. And if you're looking for one of those locations in our area, just put an Omaha and a dot in front of it, and that'll take you to what's specific here in our neck of the woods. Thank you, Amanda.
Thanks, Amanda.
Good to see you
Great
guys
to
again.
see
Good to see
you.
you.